tell me about yourself. So even though this is a statement, it's of course a question, and it's typically something you would be asked in an interview, not the first interview with HR, but the second interview round, which is usually with your boss or your boss-to-be. You might also be asked this question in a networking type of situation with somebody that could either be your potential employer or a potential client. So it's really important that you answer this question in a way that's going to get you to the farthest position possible in the shortest amount of time. In this video, you're going to learn how to answer this question in a way that is going to impress the person that you are speaking to a completely different level. And it's going to help you get that job, that promotion, that client, or whatever it is you're trying to get from that conversation. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that now so you don't miss the next video. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first. When somebody says, tell me about yourself, what I want you to do is to avoid doing what feels natural. Because, comment below if you agree with this, because what feels natural for most people is to start at the beginning. And what I mean by that is maybe where you were born or where you grew up. If you've ever done that, hit the like button in this video, because even I'm guilty of that. Oh, tell me about yourself. Oh, I was born in the US, I grew up there. But this is not a personal conversation. So you have to remember that when they say tell me about yourself, they're actually not asking for everything about your life. They're asking, why should we hire you? They're asking, what is it that you do differently than everybody else? They're asking, what makes you special, better, amazing, the best choice? This is what they're actually asking you without asking you that. The way you're going to answer this question is by starting at the end. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, the first thing you're going to say is that summary sentence of what it is that makes you special, different, better. So let's say, for example, you are at an interview for a marketing position. And when they say, tell me about yourself, the first thing out of your mouth should be a summary sentence like, I'm known for taking the marketing department to another level. That can be the summary statement. If you are applying for a sales job and they say, tell me about yourself, then the first thing out of your mouth should be something like, my specialty is increasing the revenues of the company by 10 to 20% within the first 6 months of me joining. Let's do another example. So let's say you're going for a teaching position. You're a teacher. They say, tell me about yourself. First thing you want to say is something like, I'm known for engaging my students in a way that gets them really excited about learning math and science. Of course, it depends on what industry you're in, and if you have a specific question about a certain industry that you're applying for and what you might want to say as the first response to this, drop that in the comments below and I'll help you with that. But the point here is that you need to start with the end. You start by giving that summary of what it is that you do. So that's the first step, summarize. Now, the second thing you're going to do is you're going to give bullet points of how you achieve that result. So we'll go back to the first example of marketing. If you're applying for a marketing position, they say, tell me about yourself. You would say, I am known for taking the marketing departments to another level. Now here's the second part. I do this by increasing engagement on social media through various activations and creative contests, working with a lot of influencers that are actually difficult to even approach in the market, and then you continue. So these are your bullet points. And this all goes to support what you just said at the beginning, that summary statement. If we go to the sales example, they said, tell me about yourself, and you said, I'm known for increasing revenues anywhere from 10 to 20% within the first 6 months of me joining. The second part of that, you would continue by saying, again, bullet points, I do this by identifying the clients that have the highest possible value transactions, finding gaps in the current sales process that are either irrelevant or redundant and removing them to increase productivity, and you would list a couple other things. So again, bullet points to support that. Same with the teaching example. So that's the second part, okay? So recap. The first part is you give a broad statement. That's the overall summary of the results that you can bring. The second part is you give them bullet points. I do this by 1, 2, 3. Now, the third part of this is you continue by telling them stories. Now, you want to give them 2 or 3 different stories that are going to directly support what it is that you just said. And the stories need to have a couple things in them. Number one, it has to give an example of what you just mentioned. So if you're going for marketing, again, I'm known for taking the marketing departments to another level. I do this by increasing engagement, by working with influencers that others are not able to reach, and you go through that. The third part of this is you go into the stories. So for example, in so-and-so company, now the company name is important. The bigger the company, the better. Or if it's a direct competitor to this company that you're speaking to, that's amazing because they want to know what you were able to do for them. So name drop. Name drops are huge. So for example, in this company, I was able to increase the engagement level by 30%. We had a decrease in customer complaints because the marketing communications became much more clear. The USPs of the company were understood, and you would go on. But you want to tell the story that supports the bullet points and supports the first part of what you just said. And the same will apply to any position that you're applying for and any scenario that you want to talk about. So when somebody says, "Tell me about yourself," remember, start with the end. Give bullet points on how you achieve that result, and then tell 2 to 3 stories that have not only name drops of big companies or competitors, also make sure you add numbers into your stories. The more numbers that you add into the stories along with the name drops is just going to take it to that extra level where that person that you're speaking to is going to really understand the true value that you're going to be able to bring to them as an employee or maybe as a potential partner. So I hope these tips were helpful to you, and remember them next time somebody asks you, "Tell me about yourself." And remember, I do these videos free every single week. In order to keep them free, please share this one or another one of my videos with somebody that you think might benefit from these tips. I'll see you next week.